Good afternoon, Ukraine is on the line. My name is Henry Keane and we are UATV English. What we do here is we debunk Russian propaganda with Ukrainian truth for all our global sake. By watching this very episode, you help us to do that properly. Your voice matters indeed. Please subscribe and comment. Stay updated about what is actually going on in Ukraine directly from Ukraine. Welcome to the News Pulse and see you in the episode. Russian planes shot down by Ukrainian naval drones, first time ever. Putin can't end the war that he started. More Patriots for Ukraine and more learn in the episode. Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Directorate in one mission shot down two Su-30 flanker multi-role fighters with AM-9 Sidewinder infrared guided air-to-air missile fired by Magura V7 drone boats. The head of the agency told the War Zone exclusively. This marks the first time fighter aircraft have been downed by drone boats ever and the first use of the AM-9 from a drone boat for a kill. Kirill Budanov emphasized in the command that this was a historic moment indeed, and Defense Express also pointed out this episode as unprecedented in history, where a combat aircraft is downed by a missile launched from a drone boat, surface drone, marking a significant milestone in multi-domain warfare. This happened over the Black Sea near the city of Novorossiysk, where, according to Ukraine's defense intelligence, the Russians hide their ships. On the night of May 3rd, Ukrainian drones launched a massive attack on Russia's Black Sea coastline. Russian military bloggers, including the Telegram channels like Reba and Fighter Bomber, report that the crew of the downed aircraft ejected. A civilian cargo ship picked up the two pilots afterwards, in the water, obviously. Ukraine's defense forces continue to successfully destroy Russian invaders. Here's a look at how a MiG-29 crew takes out enemy assault groups. Now let's turn to other Ukrainian successes in the field, shall we, of military innovation. The Ukrainian company Bavovna is actively introducing aerostats into armed forces. These balloons serve as communication relays and reconnaissance platforms capable of operating in distances of up to 100 kilometers. One of these devices has already been delivered to the Special Operation Forces with support from the Militarny project. According to the company's CEO Yuri V7, helium-filled aerial systems have become a vital tool in the fight on the front lines, especially given the widespread use of drones.
For many purposes, aerostats are better than any alternative we might possibly have. They can be deployed within minutes and stay airborne for several days. Our smallest model can be set up in just 7 minutes, from unloading it from a vehicle to reaching an altitude of 500 meters. The advantage of placing an interceptor drone on an aerostat is that you're already at the altitude of a Shahed. You don't have much time to intercept them, so being up there from the start really helps. Yuri V7, the CEO of Bavovna, in a comment to Spectrum.
Since 2023, Bavovna has deployed dozens of aerostats in combat zones. These are equipped with antennas, radio relays, UAV detection sensors, and other systems. As a result, strike and reconnaissance drones can operate over much greater distances and detect enemy command posts even without direct line of sight. The company Bavovna emerged during Russia's full-scale invasion. The initial attempt to create a trap for Shahed kamikaze drones was unsuccessful. However, developers Dmytro Khmara and Alexander Lozinsky later adopted the concept to fill a new niche, enhancing communications for drones. The very first prototype, equipped with a Motorola radio transmitter, provided effective in field conditions. Modern aerostat models can triangulate enemy drone signals at distances for up to 90 kilometers and withstand wind speeds for up to 90 to 100 kilometers an hour, thanks to integrated stabilization and antenna holding systems. Bavovna is also working on a drone interception concept in partnership with Maxon Systems, they plan to mount interceptor drones on aerostats. This would allow Shaheds to be intercepted at their flight altitude, significantly reducing response time. The project is in its early stages, of course, but if successful, the first systems could appear on the front lines by the end of 2025 already. Well, innovative, unconventional and deadly. In a new approach to modern warfare, Ukraine has introduced a gamification system for its drone operators, transforming how frontline units engage with the war effort. The initiative, known as the Army of Drones bonus, is designed to motivate, empower and reward drone units by tying their battlefield gains to a point-based reward system. Each enemy soldier is 6 points, the destroyed tank is 40 points, and freshly burned crispy rocket artillery system is 50 points. Well, how it works? Points for impact. Units receive points based on the type and scale of damage inflicted on Russian forces. For instance, neutralizing a soldier might earn a few points, while disabling tanks, artillery system or mobile rocket launchers gives much more. Verification through video. Operators must upload confirmed strike footage into Delta, Ukraine's advanced military intelligence and situational awareness system. This not only verifies achievements, but feeds critical data into Ukraine's broader battlefield strategy. An innovative and not boring, they say, way to collect statistics on the battlefield. Indeed. Marketplace for soldiers, it is. Accumulated points can be redeemed on a unique military platform called the Brave One Market. Here, soldiers can directly order essential equipment like FPV drones, signal jammers or night vision tech, customized to their real-time needs. It functions much like a military version of Amazon, as announced by the Minister of Digital Transformation. American military observers and journalists have already noticed the program because of its combat efficiency.
So that looks like a 6-pointer, if I remember right. Over here, let's wait for it, looks like at least a 20-point drone strike. And then last but not least, the much sought-after 50-pointer. That's right, Ukraine has gamified drone warfare. They're issuing points based off the effectiveness of kills on the battlefield, which might sound morbid, but we're going to run through some details here. It's pretty effective and honestly increasing the effectiveness of their drone units.
And why it matters. Decentralized logistics. The system reduces bureaucratic delays, giving autonomy to units to self-supply based on what's most urgent for their own missions, and also for combat efficiency. By rewarding effectiveness with immediate, tangible benefits, the program boosts precision and strategic thinking among drone operators. Also, what matters is data integration. Every mission and confirm it enhances Ukraine's centralized military database, improvising and improving coordination, threat mapping and operational planning. Also, morale and motivation. In a war where resources are scarce, the gamified system provides soldiers with clear goals and rewards, turning drone warfare into a blend of military operation and real-life time strategy, game mechanics. While the program could raise questions about the ethics of gamifying war and combat kills, many Ukrainian soldiers view it pragmatically, very easy tool for survival, resistance and innovation in the face of overwhelming military Russian aggression. It reflects a broader trend in Ukraine's defense strategy just as well, leveraging agility, tech and developing ingenuity to outsmart a larger and more rigid enemy in the face of Russia. Vladimir Putin cannot end this war he started, and here are 5 reasons why for you. First one, the return of broken men. More than 700,000 Russian soldiers have been fighting in Ukraine, many of them poorly trained, traumatized or brutalized by war, let alone some already were brutal. Inmates and criminals, rapists and burglars, you name it. Those who return home in one piece for sure carry deep emotional and psychological wounds. Some of them turned violent, committing crimes like assault, rape and murder. Imagine when all of them return home at once to Mother Russia. Another reason, war-based economy. According to Bloomberg and other independent sources, military and security spending in Russia will account for more than 40% of all federal expenditures. Well, this means that at least one out of every 3 rubles the government spends now goes to war. Entire industries, metallurgy, chemicals, electronics, have been reoriented and rebuilt to serve growing military demand. Many Russian regions are seeing their local economies revived, indeed, but not at all through innovation or trade, but solely through the blooming demand for weapons and ammunition. Another thing, war as political cover. As long as the war continues, Putin enjoys a dangerous kind of immunity. The war silences it all. Any dissent mutes all the criticism and justifies authoritarianism. Everything from poverty to censorship to assassinations is excused under the slogan, "Oh, shut up, we're at war." The next reason is no victory, no exit. Putin launched the invasion with those grand promises, remember? To denazify Ukraine, topple its government, and stop NATO expansion. None happened. He didn't take Kiev in 3 days. He didn't destroy Ukrainian identity. What he has achieved is the exact opposite of what he promised. Ukraine today is more united, more determined, and more military capable than ever before. Paradoxically, Ukraine has #1 experienced and battle-hardened army in Europe solely thanks to Putin. And thanks to him, NATO grows bigger rapidly also. And he didn't denazify anything because there's simply nothing to denazify. Which brings us back exactly to the statement that I voiced in the very beginning. Putin can't end what he started, this war, because he is the war. He's the man, the guru, with the red communist right hand. He's the creator of an operational system of this war. He was preparing for it, he instigated it, he announced it, and he stalled in it. So now he either needs to accomplish all his original goals, which are, as of today, completely out of reach. According to British military intelligence, given today's Russian army pace in Ukraine, Putin will be actually able to get hold of all of the Ukraine by 2256. Or Putin is forced into peace by Trump, or most likely by Trump and by Russia's strained economy, struggling to survive this insatiable military demand and overwhelming both internal and external pressure. And even if forced peace actually happens, Putin will only take this peace as a respite, doing everything in his power to protect the war as long as possible. This war is essential for the regime Putin has created. Without it, the regime simply collapses. Without this war, Putin's carefully staged image of a great leader just disintegrates. His historical Soviet legacy only lives in his Soviet war-mongering past and does not belong in any peace. It simply won't survive it. As only at times of war, at times of turmoil and destruction and chaos, such a Soviet mediocrity as Vladimir Putin might look like a pillar of stability and a measure of all Russian things for Russians. Putin has created that morbidly militarized paradigm where all things are weaponized. I mean, seriously, food, blackmailing the world with hunger by burning Black Sea food grain storages. Or child murder is a tool of terror. First, they murdered children with cluster warheads to make the world shudder in fear and force Ukraine to peace just to stop this madness at the cost of our blood, our territories, our lives, and our very future, instead of doing the only thing that is right. Get united and uniting against Russia. More Patriots for Ukraine. What I mean, Ukraine will receive another Patriot defense system, which was removed from service with the Israeli army and was repaired later in the United States. The New York Times is telling the story, reports on that, citing its own sources. However, there's more to it. According to the publication, Western allies are now discussing logistics for maybe possible Germany or Greece to send another system. Well, in terms of Germany, however, the supply of another system looks highly unlikely since it has already transferred 3 of its 10 Patriot systems to Ukraine. So the replacements for the transfer system have not yet arrived. Officials who spoke on condition, of course, of anonymity due to the sensitivity of the discussions refused to talk about how President Trump feels about the decision in general, and in particular about transferring more Patriot complexes to Ukraine, and whether these 2 Patriots about to be delivered Whether he negotiated before his inauguration or during Biden terms, that we don't know. But what we know, as a matter of fact, is that in mid-March, Trump promised Volodymyr Zelensky to cooperate with him in finding additional Patriot air defense systems for Ukraine. And that is happening, this way or another. But the US Department of Defense said it continues to provide Ukraine with equipment from previously authorized packages, referring to both weapons from existing stockpiles and new purchases. Well, as of today, Ukraine has already received 8 Patriot systems as a military aid, 3 from US, 3 from Germany, and actually 1 from Romania and 1 from Netherlands. However, only 6 of them are operational, while the other 2 are under repair. Now, with only Israel and 1 Germany or Greek thing, Ukraine will actually have a total of 10 Patriot systems, and that is, according to President Zelensky, what Ukraine exactly need, 10 Patriot systems, by early April to counter Russian ballistic missile terror. It is worth noting, however, that a gun without the gauge just doesn't fire. It's not so much the number of Patriot systems that is crucial, but ammunition in stock. Viktor Orban of Hungary, if you didn't know. Well, I love the topic. Many people these days actually sincerely believe that Viktor Orban is a great politician because the man is strong and won't back off, no matter what. Well, following that simple logic, any rock is a better politician than Viktor Orban is. Learn more in the episode.
Ukraine should not be dragged into Hungary's election campaign, said President Volodymyr Zelensky, responding to recent remarks by Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban. According to Zelensky, Orban's anti-Ukrainian rhetoric is dangerous not just for Ukraine, but for the European Union as a whole. Kyiv has already informed its partners about this. Orban, a longtime ally of Vladimir Putin, has consistently opposed providing aid to Ukraine and resists Ukraine's integration into the EU. He claims that Ukraine's accession would harm Hungary's economy and draw the EU into the war. He even initiated a national survey on the issue and demonstratively voted against Ukraine's EU membership on camera.
In the end, this tactic won't be successful. Why? Because at the end of the day, people support Ukraine, no matter how much he tries to manipulate them. Sure, he'll influence some percentage of voters, but you can't keep winning based solely on hatred. By the way, Orban's opposition organized a public poll, and most Hungarians voted in favor of Ukraine joining the EU. Volodymyr Zelensky, president of Ukraine, during a meeting with journalists from the Interfax Ukraine publication.
That poll was conducted by the TISA party, the main political rival of Viktor Orban's Fidesz party. According to the results, 58 of respondents supported Ukraine's European integration. In response, Prime Minister Viktor Orban accused the opposition of lobbying for Kyiv and labeled the TISA party leader an agent of Brussels.
The point is, they want to bring Ukraine into the EU as fast as possible, so there's now sabotage happening in Hungary regarding Ukraine's membership. The European People's Party, the parent party of TISA, wants to rush Ukraine into the EU, and we have to stop them, because it would bankrupt Hungary. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary.
Orban was also supported by Hungary's Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó, who responded to Zelensky's comment about Budapest blocking Ukraine's EU accession in that way.
President Zelensky must come to terms with the fact that all Hungarians have the right to voice their opinion on Ukraine's fast-tracked EU membership. After all, it's Ukraine that wants to join a union that we are already part of, not the other way around. So the tone from Kyiv should reflect that. Péter Szijjártó, Foreign Minister of Hungary, on Facebook.
Hungary's next parliamentary elections are scheduled for 2026. According to recent polls by research firm Publitas, Orban's Fidesz party currently trails slightly behind the opposition TISA party. Experts note that Orban has a history of using controversial public service to boost his popularity. He did this in 2016 and even on the day of the last election in 2022.
Orban's situation is the most difficult it's been since 2010. He's always managed to stay in power, using various regulators and manipulations. But this time, the situation is more complex. Hungary is facing serious economic challenges. And as we know, politicians often benefit from finding an external enemy to blame for internal problems. Right now, for Orban, that enemy is Ukraine. And of course, he will keep playing that card, just as he has in the past.
One of Orban's formal grievances against Ukraine is the alleged violation of Hungarian minority rights, specifically political representation and access to Hungarian language education. This issue is being addressed directly between Kiev and Budapest. On April 28, a Ukrainian delegation led by the Ministry of Justice and the Deputy Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic integration arrived in Hungary. Olga Stefanishina announced that such meetings will be held regularly and that by May 12 we may already see the first preliminary results. Reported by Alexandra Zaslavets and Rid Matranko, UATV News.
A priest Macari of the Russian Orthodox Church ROC claimed that blessing ballistic missiles is compatible with Christianity if the weapons, I quote, benefits people, whatever that means. Macari is the epitome of Christian virtue in a Russian way. He endorsed the death penalty. He said public executions would deter others, and they are fun, by the way, right? He's a good man, true Russian values in action.
There's nothing wrong with saying good things about an object that serves a purpose, from a ballistic missile to a ballpoint pen. Archpriest Makary of the Ivanovo-Voznesensk Eparchy of the Russian Orthodox Church.
Ballpoint pen. Russian ballistic missiles armed with cluster warheads are shredding to pieces our children in Ukraine, and Russian priest blesses these missiles for that. Missiles and ballpoint pens. Well, there's more Russian fun to that. In August 2024, Russian Orthodox Church officials said blessing also nuclear weapons is very acceptable, calling them weapons of deterrence and guarantees of peace. Patriot Kirill stated that nuclear arms help Russia remain free and credited God with aiding their development. Well, sure, we heard that before. Gott mit uns, right? Well, that was it for today. It was Henry Keane, and we are UATV English. We debunk Russian propaganda with Ukrainian truth for all our global sake. It was News Pulse. See you at the next beat.